So, once again, welcome back. Let us move ahead with the topics that are designated today to be discussed between us. Yesterday, due to some technical errors, we had a little issue, but your constant feedback helped us to resolve that. Apart from that, we had many feedbacks, but of those, three feedbacks were really eye-catching. One was that, sir, why do we name these orbits as K, L, M, and N, and why do we not name them as A, B, C, and D? It is all depending on two simple theory and some conventional methods of naming, which we will be discussing later on in this online lecture series. The second feedback that came was, sir, we should have some reference books from where you are discussing these topics. Surely, I'll share in our group or channel the reference books and their links. And the third important thing that came up was, sir, there are so much of advertisement coming in between. Definitely, I have had a discussion with the technical department and they will try to resolve it either in this video or the video after this. So, without wasting much of time, let us try to continue and elaborate the arrangement of electrons and its context with quantum numbers. Yesterday, we made it very clear that orbit or shell, let us represent them by N, the suborbit or subshell, let us represent them by L, and the orbitals present inside, let us represent them by ML. If we keep into consideration these three names, each representing orbit, suborbit and orbital, and starting it initially with K, L, M and N, where as of now you know these values very well to be 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the corresponding present suborbit for K as S, for L as S and P, over here S, P and D, and over here S, P, D and F. And depending on these, the quantity of orbitals for every S to be 1, for any P to be 3, for any D to be 5, and again when representing S, P, D and F and going towards F, making it 7. Apart from these, we also had values for these particular orbitals, and there we had S everywhere with a value 0, P valued from -1 to +1, D valued from -2 to +2, and F valued from -3 to +3. Apart from this, we came to a conclusion that in an orbital, a maximum of 2 electron accommodates, and that led us to a conclusion that when talking of the orbit number 1, we had a maximum of 1 orbital and 2 electrons. When talking of orbit 2, we had a maximum of 4 orbitals and 8 electrons. When talking of orbit 3, we had a maximum of 9 orbitals and 18 electrons. And when talking of orbit 4, we had a maximum of 16 orbitals and 32 electrons. Friends, all these things that we are just fetching up over here are having simple formulas and that are very much essential, which already we have done yesterday. If we are interested in calculating the number of electrons for a particular orbit, we have this formula 2n square. When going for particular orbitals, we have n square. When we want to justify the number of orbitals in a suborbit, we have always concluded it by a very simple formula 2l plus 1. But when another question comes over here, that which orbitals in a suborbit, over there also we have always concluded it with this formula minus L2 plus L. So for me, when learning quantum numbers or term symbols and when preparing the base for it, I always prefer or recommend the formula knowledge to be at the top. Similarly, we know when we wanted a formula to deduce the L, that is the suborbit, we have always concluded it by using L is equal to n minus 1 and a new terminology from my side, that was up to. So friends, we were very clear with these things, and now we are interested to move ahead in the similar direction. I hope up to this point, which was done in our lecture 1, you all are very clear, and now I am interested in moving ahead. Today, our prime focus of discussion will be the energy states or the energy level, the filling up of the energy level, and along with that, an highlight on the quantum numbers. So, as we all know, K to be energy level 1, or rather to say the first orbit, then L to be second orbit, M to be the third, and N to be the fourth orbit. In this direction, we also had the suborbit S over here, the suborbit S and P, the suborbit S, P and D, and the suborbit S, P, D and F over here. Now comes a question that using this first orbit and the second suborbit, let us deduce energy level. So it is just a combination 1 and S leading us to 1S, 2S, 2P, 3S, 3P, 3D, 4S, 4P, 4D and 4F. So fundamentally, these values that we are getting are nothing but energy level. Whenever you just speak this word energy level, they will have energy, and so for us it becomes very important to check whether they are arranged in a proper order of energy. And generally in science, the one at the bottom is considered as a low energy and the one at the top is considered as a high energy. So for us over here, it becomes very important to first check whether it is from low to high or not. And the formula to check the value of energy is very simple, that is N plus L. For N, they are the orbit values. So for K it is 1, for L it is 2, for M it is 3, and for N it is 4. Similarly, when we go for these suborbits, we are very much aware now, but as we are going to add up here the values, I must first of all let you know the values, and we have corresponding values for SPDF as 0, 1, 2 and 3. So when someone will ask us to calculate the value of 1s, it will always be 1 plus s. But we know that s corresponds to 0, so we will write flat 1 plus 0, and that is 1. So over here we will end up with the value 1. Over here again it is 2 plus 0, so I will end up with 2. Over here it is 2p, so 2 plus 1, so it is 3, 3s, again 3, 3p, 4, 3d, 5. D corresponds to number 2 plus 3. So it is 3 plus 2 ending 5. 4s, that is 4. Again 5. Again 6. And friends, it's a 7. If you focus over here, we can observe that the energy is constantly increasing, but sudden there is a drop in the energy over here, and it again stabilizes and keeps on moving. But once you have an increasing value of energy, it should never decrease again and increase again. So for us, now is a task to rearrange these energy levels. So what would we prefer to do? We would do nothing apart from just making an exchange between these two. So the 4s will be dropped down and the 3d will be taken on the top. And after this simple swapping of energy levels, let us write them again. And when we are writing them again, we will just end up them by writing 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 3d, 4p, 4d, and 4f. Friends, this is where we have got our desired and required change in the energy levels. So now I can write a complete line with an arrow on the top, and I can very well indicate them as energy level. And as of now, the number of energy levels you are observing are all in their increasing order with corresponding values 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, and 7. So friends, this is how just by a simple combination of orbit with orbital helps us in joining and resulting into energy levels. So this is how we get energy level. Now, if at all you have any queries up to this point, you are always free to write in the comment box, or else you can email me. Most of you are now very much connected and have my email. You can also write a simple message to me on the Telegram account, and I'll be happy to answer in a minimum span of time. Now, just after completing these energy levels, let us move ahead, because now is the time to just arrange the electrons, which was a shift from high school to higher secondary, and afterwards we will be moving towards the UG and the PG level in a lighter note. So friends, over here we are very much clear. 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 3d, 4p, and so on. As of now, as we are in the requirement of only these level, I am just keeping it as of now restricted to 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 3d, and 4p. There can be other energy levels also. So just simply let us name them as energy level. Now, depending on the suborbit present, we can just get an idea regarding the maximum number of electrons that can be filled over here. So we all know that when it is the case of an s suborbit, it itself is an orbital, single orbital. Remember the yesterday's example of an apartment with a flat and with a room, and on the floor, when you have only one apartment and the one room, that floor is yours. So the similar thing happens when it comes to s. So there are only 2 electrons moving to 2s, again 2 electrons moving to 2p, 6 electrons because of the presence of 3 orbitals, again 2, again 6, again 2, again 10, and again 6. So friends, this is how it works. And over here you can very well see the 2, 2, 6, 2, 6, 2, 10, 6. So these are the maximum possible electrons in an energy level. So we have now an idea of the maximum electron possible. So now for us is a very simple task to convert them to electronic configuration. For my satisfaction, I have always discussed this via writing three things. This is high school, and when it comes to plus 2, this is probably 11 and this is probably 12, and then we shift fortunately or unfortunately to the undergraduate and the postgraduate courses. When we are in the high school, the simple target for us, if I am discussing something called carbon having its atomic number 6 and the number of electron presence at 6, I will always write it as 2 and 4 and I will simply end it as 6. But coming a step ahead in the form of learning, I would now like to go these 2 electrons in depth, in detail, these 4 electrons again in depth, in detail. So what I would do, I would now fill the energy level at the bottom first and then go up, but I cannot directly fill them up. I have to compulsory think of Aufbau. Aufbau, a person who just helped us or taught us how to fill up an electrons, very clearly stated that if you are interested in filling electrons in the orbits of an atom, if you are interested in filling up electrons in orbit of an atom, mind very well that until and unless you do not fill the lowest possible energy level, never go to the energy level having more energy to the lowest possible energy level. So first of all, you need to feel the lowest possible energy level, and then only you can go upwards. So over here, our requirement is 6 electrons, and to satisfy that, in the first energy level 1s, the maximum capacity of the electrons is 2. So still we are left with 4 electrons because the total has to be 6. So in the 2s, again we would end up with 2 more electrons, that is 4, and then comes 2p. Remember, the maximum capacity of 2p is 6 electrons, but as of now we only need that quantity, which makes the total to be 6, and therefore we will only add 2. So it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. This is how we generally work. So it's a shift from a simple way of electronic configuration to a little exclusive way or a detailed way of electronic configuration. Here itself we are taught to still go into details, but I have just classified into 2 different classes to make it easily digestible for us. After this very simple principle of Aufbau, where the electrons were simply to be arranged in such a way that the electrons, after filling the lowest energy level, can go to the upward energy level, and so on. At this particular junction, we had 2 more great people who came, of which one was Pauli and the second one was Hund. Both these Pauli and Hund came up with their own theories, where Hund came up with the multiplicity rule, whereas Pauli came up with his own exclusion principle. As of now, we will not go into these details regarding the multiplicity rule or the exclusion principle, but the reason or the outcome of this would be discussed with you in this current video. Out of the discussion of Pauli and Hund given in a very good books, we could come up with two discussion. One discussion was related to orbital. Second discussion was related to suborbit. And if you very carefully look into the discussions that came up, the discussion of orbit was satisfactorily stated by Aufbau. And that is what we came up over here, because this orbit, or even at some instant, let us write energy level, a more satisfactory word. But the outcome of the Pauli and the Hund came in the form of orbitals, where it was very clearly stated that let us just assume one orbital, let it be from the S group of suborbit, P group of suborbit, D group of suborbit, or F group of suborbit. These orbital can accommodate a maximum of 2 electrons, and the spin of these 2 electrons has to be opposite. Now comes the discussion. What are the spins? Friends, an electron is assumed to be revolving around the nuclei or the center in a similar fashion how Mother Earth is revolving around the sun. It is going in two different patterns. One pattern, assume this to be a nuclei, Earth is moving like this, revolution. And the second is, along with this moment, we can assume it that it is also moving on its axis. So for us, it is just an assumption. But over here, when it comes to electrons, just assume two things. That electron in a particular orbit around an center is constantly revoluting, and along with this revolution, this electron is also rotating on its own axis. So it looks similar like this: rotation and revolution, rotation and revolution, rotation and revolution. So in an orbital, there can be maximum of 2 electrons, and if one is rotating clockwise, another compulsorily has to rotate anti-clockwise. And therefore, if this is rotating clockwise, the other electron has to rotate anti-clockwise. So keep this thing in mind. In an orbital, a maximum of 2 electrons and with opposite spins. Now, when we talk of suborbit, let us assume P. In P, you can see has 3 orbitals and maximum of 6 electrons. But of these two theories, that is exclusion principle and the rule of multiplicity, we can very well state that for a suborbit bearing any number of orbitals, until and unless each orbital in a suborbit is not half filled, you cannot pair them up. In any of the suborbit, let it be P, D, F, even G, all have different numbers of orbitals. Until and unless you are not done with single electrons in each orbitals of this suborbit, you cannot pair them up. So first of all, I need to add a single electron, and only after adding a single electron I can pair them up. I cannot directly pair them up. So the same 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 over here. Now when we try to represent it, I am quite sure that 1s just having a single orbital, 2s because of the s having a single orbital, and 2p because of the p having the 3 orbitals, when we try to designate the electrons, the first electron, this suborbit only has one orbital, and this one orbital when half filled can be doubled, so double it up. Going for the second one, again this is a single orbital, so pair it up. And now until and unless you do not fill all singly, you cannot double up. But over here the maximum allowed electrons are 2, and when I fill 2, it is unpaired. So this is how it works. And if it works this way, then I cannot write this as my complete thorough answer. I need to write this again as 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, 2py1, and 2pz0. And corresponding to this, when I try to draw the orbitals, I come up with a justification like this. And friends, this is how we could arrange the electrons properly. And over here, just by notifying any of these one notation, you come up with a very good data. This representing the orbit, the alphabetical letter representing the suborbit, this together representing energy level, and this representing number of electrons. So this is how it works with the information of orbit, suborbit, energy level, and number of electrons. I hope, friends, we are clear with what we are doing, because this is one of the most important thing which will help us in counting term symbols and also quantum numbers. So depending on this, I will just discuss two more simple examples to make the things clear. As we started with the calcium in our first lecture, let us just try to inculcate Aufbau, Pauli, and Hund and discuss the electronic configuration for calcium, that is 20. Apart from these, two exceptions, chromium, that is 24, and copper, that is 29. 3C for chemistry. So over here, as there are 20 electrons, the old rational method 2882. But suddenly when we shift from 2882, we have our energy level 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 3d, and 4p. What is the maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated? 2, 2, 6, 2, 6, 2, 10, and 6. How many electrons do we require? 20. So just looking towards it, 2 plus 2, 4 plus 6, 10 plus 2, 12, 18, and 20. So we would get an idea that we would not require these. Even we do not require this to be written, it is only to be remembered. And now, while putting these values, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, and 4s2, and if we try to sum them up, we again reach to calcium 20. So this is how we can represent a simple electronic configuration by a proper method. Still going into detail of that representation, I can write over here 2 electrons, 2 more. See, first of all I have singly filled, and then I am pairing it up. Keep this thing in mind. Do not never pair them directly. Singly filled first, because it's the Hund and the Pauli's exclusion combination, and this 4s. So this is how it works. And above this, you are supposed to write 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2. You are very much aware regarding the exception of chromium and copper. So I will directly write over here and you can take it in a very proper way that 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. Generally people prefer 4s2, 4p4, but this is incorrect. We should not prefer like this, and it has to be written like 4s1. Over here it was my mistake while writing, so first I would like to rectify that. It was 4s2, 3d4, but this is a wrong way of representing, so I will just eliminate it and I will make it 4s1, 3d5. So this is where stability of orbitals come into existence, and similarly while going for copper 29, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d9, again incorrect, again required to be resolved, 4s1, 3d10, and then when you are counting for the electrons in that particular orbital, my dear friends, this is the way of representing, giving a total respect to Hund and Pauli. So friends, this is all about the arrangement of electrons, energy levels, and sticking to Aufbau, Hund and Pauli. In the coming up lecture, in the same module, we will be discussing exclusively quantum numbers. Before moving into that, over here, before we end up this video, I will just make a highlight for that. When we are discussing quantum numbers, or when someone very interestingly asks me why quantum numbers, I always tell them in a very simple word that if you want to know the address of an electron, you should be knowing quantum numbers, because quantum numbers directly gives you the address for any electron in any atom present anywhere. So we will be here focusing on 4 different quantum numbers that are respectively the first quantum number always represented by n, the second quantum number always represented by L, the third quantum number always represented by ml, and the fourth quantum number always represented by ms. Friends, in a very fragile way, just for making things clear, I will always write that this quantum number always helps us in identifying the orbit where actually the electron is. This quantum number always helps us in identifying the suborbit where our electron is. This ml quantum number always helps us in exactly identifying the orbital where our quantum number is, and ms will surely help us to define whether our electron is on a clockwise spin or our electron is in an anti-clockwise spin. Might be a slip of tongue while speaking. Quantum number n helps us in defining the orbit where an electron is present. Quantum number L helps us the exact suborbit in the orbit where an electron is present. The quantum number ml helps us in exactly finding the orbital in a suborbit of an orbit where an electron is present, and ms will help us tell that whether it is s, whether it is p orbitals, whether it is d orbitals, or whether it is the set of f orbitals. If we are focusing on any one of these orbitals and we are just looking for the 2 electrons present inside it from the values of ms, that is the spin, we will always be able to find out whether we are talking of this electron or this electron, and they are arbitrarily selected. That particular point I will discuss when someone writes or represents an electron with a head or an arrow on the top. We will always consider its value as plus 1/2, and we will always consider its rotation as clockwise rotation. Similarly, when someone tries to represent an electron with a bottom headed arrow, we will always try to designate it as minus 1/2, and that will always be considered as anti-clockwise. And just for the sake of keeping things equivalent with respect to competitive exams, answers do not get clashed. It is always told, or most of the answer keys, reference books always suggest that in a particular orbital, when you are supposed to fill 2 electrons, the first electron to be filled in an orbital is always with the head, that is arrow on the top, and the second electron when comes in that same orbital, it is always a bottom headed arrow. So traditionally, rationally, the first electron in an orbital is always clockwise because it is plus 1/2. Plus 1/2 always represents clockwise, like this. And when the second electron comes after complete satisfaction of Pauli and Hund, will always be written with a bottom headed arrow represented by the value minus 1/2, and we will call it as anti-clockwise. This is the tradition that we are following with context to competitive exams, reference book, and maximum answer keys available to us. So friends, this was all what I wanted to discuss over here. Coming up in the next video, we will go into detail with these quantum numbers and how to answer those questions. So quantum number will be our next session, and after that session you will have a test. So probably tomorrow's session will be quantum number session along with a small test which will include questions from yesterday's lecture, today's lecture, and tomorrow's lecture. That will be your module 1. Took 3 days for us to complete because this time I wanted to go a bit slow. Nevertheless, in the introductory video we might have told you a 7-day course, but I am much interested in extending it, going slowly with the concepts clear, because there are several students, participants for whom their exams are being conducted by their institutes in an online mode. Even colleagues, friends, my students, myself, we are selected for Summer Research Training Program 2020 online by CSIR. So we are also going through a good schedule and lectures from eminent people over there. So keeping all these scenarios in mind for all the 1500 participants from over the country, we will be extrapolating our days from 7 to might be 10 or 12 and cut shorting our lectures. So once again, thank you. If you have any queries, just come up so that we could solve those queries. Thank you once again. Be safe, be connected.